Hey everybody, so some of you guys may know that I haven't been the biggest fan of Samsung Galaxy phones. If you watch my old videos or read some of my old reviews on Forbes, you'll see that I've given a, not necessarily a bad review, but a lukewarm review to the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, the Samsung Galaxy S9, and the Samsung Galaxy A80. And the reason I gave them not too great reviews is not because I personally had a grudge against Samsung. I just thought those phones didn't really measure up to what was out on the market. The Samsung Galaxy Note 9 and S9 had pretty dated designs if you think about it. They had pretty sizable forehead and chin bezels in a year when the iPhone 10 and Oppo Find X and other devices from Xiaomi and OnePlus were all mostly bezel-less. But I've been testing the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 for the past few days, and I gotta say, I really like this phone. I think Samsung has really improved on a lot of the gripes I've had with Samsung devices in the past. Now you might be thinking, oh Ben, you're probably just giving Samsung a good review because they gave you this phone to test. Actually, that's not true. Samsung actually has been giving me access for multiple years now. I was invited to the Samsung Galaxy S9 launch in Barcelona, and the Galaxy Note 9 was also provided by Samsung, and so was the Samsung Galaxy A80. Plus, Apple treats me pretty well too. Apple flew me out to San Francisco to attend the iPhone launch and then let me review the iPhone XS and let me review the Apple Watch and the MacBook. And guess what? If you watch my videos, I'm still criticizing the iPhone quite a lot. So if you watch my channel, you know that I keep things real. I don't just say something's good just because the company's treating me nice. And I'm telling you guys, the Galaxy Note 10, it's pretty damn legit. So before I talk about what Samsung has improved with the Note 10 Plus, let's go over the specs really quick. So the unit I'm testing is the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. It's the larger of the two. It has a 6.8-inch OLED screen with a resolution of 3040 by 1440. So this is even a little bit more than Quad HD resolution. All the Note 10 Pluses come with 12 gigs of RAM with either 256 or 512 gigs of internal storage. The chipset's a Snapdragon 855, and the camera setup, it's almost the exact same as the Samsung Galaxy S10. So you have a main lens that's 12 megapixel with a variable aperture of f1.5 to f2.4. You have a wide-angle camera, 16 megapixel with f2.2 aperture, and then you have a 12 megapixel telephoto lens with OIS. And on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus, there's actually a fourth camera. It's a TOF sensor, time of flight. So what it does is it helps you shoot better bokeh shots, and on the Note 10 you can shoot bokeh videos too. So now let's talk about what Samsung has improved on the Note 10 series. So first of all, this design is about as bezel-less as I've seen yet, other than the fact that there's a hole punch camera in the middle of the screen that I don't quite like, but otherwise the bezels on this thing is even slimmer than the Samsung Galaxy S10. I criticized the Note 9 because it looked so boring with the relatively large bezels. Well, Samsung has fixed that. In fact, you put the Note 10 next to the OnePlus 7 Pro, the OnePlus 7 Pro still looks cleaner because it doesn't have a hole punch cutout. The bezels on the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus is actually thinner than the bezels on the OnePlus 7 Pro. Now the OnePlus 7 Pro is already pretty damn bezel-less. If you compare the Galaxy Note 10 with the iPhone XS Max, then it's not even close. The iPhone XS Max is still a bezel-less phone, but you actually see pretty chunky bezels. So this is a cutting-edge design. For the first time in 2 years, the Samsung Galaxy Note device actually looks just as good, if not better, than competing devices from Huawei and Xiaomi and Oppo and Apple. The second major improvement that's come to the Note 10, there's no more Bixby button. Samsung has finally given up on Bixby apparently. So the right side of the phone is completely clean. On the left side, you only have a power button right here and volume rockers. Now, out of the box, if you long press on the power button, it actually triggers Bixby. But you can actually turn this off too. All you have to do is go into settings, go into side key, and you see this option right here, press and hold. By default, it's awake Bixby, but you can go to a power off menu. So now after that, if you long press on the power button, it actually just brings up the menu to shut down the phone. That means now there is no Bixby button whatsoever. You can't accidentally trigger Bixby at all anymore. So the third aspect that's been a major improvement is overall speediness. Because you guys know, a Galaxy phone has never been the fastest phone around. Now I'm not saying they were slow, but compared to a OnePlus phone or Huawei phone, animations are just a little bit laggy and everything just takes a beat longer than on other phones. But that's not the case anymore. Everything, it's pretty fast. The only time the software UI slows down is when you swipe to the left of the homepage and you get this Bixby section. So this is the only thing that slows down the phone. Otherwise, everything, it's pretty fast. And even the fingerprint sensor, which I complained about on the Galaxy S10, it's gotten a lot better. I think this must be a second generation ultrasonic scanner. It's so much faster than on the Galaxy S10. So just overall performance, it's very good. This phone zips around, no problem. So a fourth complaint that I used to have with Samsung Galaxy phones that the Note 10 Plus has fixed, it's battery life. There's a 4,300 mAh battery inside, and yes, it definitely has been lasting me an entire day. So with the Galaxy Note 10 Plus, Samsung has fixed the 4 major gripes that I've had with Galaxy phones in the past. Poor battery life, slow UI, that damn Bixby button, and kind of outdated designs. Now all 4 of these are gone. The Galaxy Note 10, there isn't a glaring flaw in this phone. Now, even though Samsung has improved the software a lot, I still have some gripes here and there. This software skin, One UI, is still not better than, like, say, an Oxygen OS. For example, if you open folder, like apps that are in folder, you see the app icons are placed a little bit high up. I mean, I can still reach it, but it requires a little bit of a stretch. So now also the app tray, when you swipe up to bring up the app tray, but then you have to swipe sideways, like left to right, horizontally to cycle through the apps. I just prefer it better if it's like a straight up and down motion on a vertical list. So of course, it wouldn't be a Samsung Galaxy Note without the stylus or S Pen. So the S Pen is one of those things that people usually say is a gimmick, or it's very, very crucial to their day-to-day use. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm completely okay using a phone without a stylus. I don't think this is like crucial to my day-to-day activity. But at the same time, I don't mind having a stylus at all. I actually think it's quite useful. Part of that's because I have to sign a lot of contracts, and also because I also write and edit for written publication. So a lot of times I have to edit articles and I'll be circling words with an S Pen, mark them up and send them back to my writer, and that's pretty useful. It's a lot more, the point, it's a lot finer than doing so with your finger. Of course, there are all the usual tricks with the S Pen that you've grown used to, such as the ability to draw on the screen, write a screen off memo. That's pretty useful. I actually love that feature because it's like, sometimes when I'm out and about, I just want to remind myself to do something like, oh, remember to buy water. Then I'll write it on the screen and it will stay on my always on display. So new S Pen features this year include some gimmicks such as the ability to control the photo gallery by doing these kind of magic wand gestures. I mean, kind of, a little bit gimmicky. This is not that useful, but there's a very useful new feature which is called AR Doodle. I really like this. This is pretty fun. So what it does is this allows you to draw something. Let's write NWO, and then it stays onto that area you drew because it's augmented reality. So now you bring the camera over here and then you write Hong Kong, and up here let's draw a heart right here. And then now if I move the camera around, you see it stays on to the area that I've drawn. You can also flip the camera around to do it with your face. So now, okay, I'm gonna give myself a pair of glasses. You can also change different colors, brushes, all of that too. Be like, bend. See, now it stays onto my face. And this works with multiple faces in the frame too. So I think this, it's not a crucial feature, but this is very fun to play with. So in terms of camera performance, the Galaxy Note 10 Plus has basically almost the exact same camera as the Galaxy S10. So that means it's not the best camera out there. The Huawei P30 has a slightly better camera in my opinion because you're able to get 10-20 times zoom. Oppo Reno too. But this camera is still very, very good. And one of the major improvements, as I mentioned earlier, is this phone is just a little bit faster all around. Like you can cycle through camera modes now, you see, very fast, and there isn't that pause. On previous Galaxy phones, I was always annoyed that when you switch between modes, there was always like a little bit of a pause. So this camera app is very intuitively designed. It's very easy to use, even with one hand when you're on the go, which is important because this phone is a little bit big. So the main 12 megapixel camera has a variable aperture. So that means if you're shooting in really low light conditions, it will shoot with a more wide open shutter so you can take in more light. The wide angle lens still has a little bit of distortion and tends to be overexposed as soon as you switch to the wide angle lens. So what you can do is you can tap on the screen and dial it down a little bit and you'll get something that's a little bit more impressive. Now 2x zoom, it's a almost lossless zoom and it looks pretty clean, and you can get all the way up to 10 times zoom too, and I'm quite impressed by the photos I get at 10 times zoom when there's good lighting. When your lighting's not good, then you need to get something that's very, very grainy. As is usual with Samsung phones, the Galaxy Note 10 Plus's autofocus is super fast. This is probably one of the fastest autofocus systems out there. So I'm going to show you some photo samples right here. Overall, I would say the Galaxy Note 10 Plus has a very capable and very versatile camera system that can keep up with just about any of the top phones out there. The only area where it falls short a little bit is in bokeh images and when you're trying to zoom in really close. In terms of video recording, it is strong as expected. When you shoot 1080-30 or 1080-60, stabilization is on point. Even at 4K30, you get pretty decent stabilization. It's only when you jump up to 4K60 that you lose stabilization. I would say of all the phones I've tested, the best video camera is still the iPhone XS. Second place is probably an LG phone like an LG V40 or an LG G8. And the third place would be the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. Phones like the Huawei P30 Pro, they have an awesome still camera, but video camera is not that great. So that's about it for my review of the Galaxy Note 10 Plus. I really like this phone because it ticks every box and all the things I didn't like about previous Galaxy phones have been fixed. Now obviously pricing is still an issue. This phone sells for about $1,000 US depending on where you are. Could be a little cheaper. In Hong Kong I think it's a little bit under $1,000, but obviously if you turn to Xiaomi or if you turn to OnePlus, you're gonna get something with very similar specs at a much lower price point. And on top of that, the OnePlus 7 Pro has a better screen, a 90 Hz refresh rate. But if you're someone who don't want to use Chinese phones or don't have access to Chinese phones, or you just want a stylus is important to you, then the Galaxy Note 10 is the phone to get. And if you're just a fan of the Samsung Note series in general, then I don't think the Galaxy Note 10 will disappoint you at all. It is a huge jump over the Galaxy Note 9, a much bigger jump than the Galaxy Note 9 was over the Note 8 or the Note 8 was over the Note 7. So that's about it for now. If you're interested in more videos on this phone or other gadgets, I'm reviewing a bunch of stuff for now. Please subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram at Ben's Gadget Review. So that's it for now. Thanks.